What's up, everybody? What's happening? What's going on? K Mega 405 coming to you live from the 405, where I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Be so kind. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification bell. Let everybody know that we're just doing this live for a little bit, man. I want to just talk about this situation with Final Fantasy. And you know me, I like to process everything before I make a video. I sometimes every blue moon I might drop something right off the bat, but for the most part, I like to just kind of let it marinate. Let me think about it for a minute. Let me just sit back and just see what just get my thoughts about everything, right? Okay, so again, as if people are living under a rock, what's going on with you, KTJ and Bunty? What's happening, guys? What's going on? Really appreciate you guys coming around, checking me out, just doing a random video, giving out my thoughts. Sorry I didn't do one last week. Had to do so many appointments to take my mom to, so just didn't have the time. But and then of course yesterday was Father's Day and Juneteenth, and so I had family late, and so I canceled fight night, but I will be doing fight night tonight for anybody that cares. We'll be doing fight night and playing some fighters. But anyway, this Final Fantasy VII remake situation, it is nuts, right? I think overall where we're at with this whole situation is what's going on with you, Elite Blade. It's okay. I'm gonna have to keep it 100 here. I'm gonna keep it. I'm always keeping it 100 with you guys, but I first got to give my Xbox brethren some slander because of the fact of this. A lot of people was anticipating Final Fantasy VII Remake to come out around this time, me included. We were all anticipating this game. We were seeing tweets. We were seeing stuff dropped on social media, rumors of Final Fantasy dropping. And the fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake hasn't dropped on Xbox, and seeing then people drop like almost instantly. Well, nobody cares about Final Fantasy. I don't play that shit anyway. Wait. Hold on. Wait a minute. Come on now. Wait. What? Now, so you anticipating the game, you throwing it out there, and then next thing you know, boom, because it's not there, then, well, you're not interested anymore. Come on now. You can't do that. Because you know what? You know who likes that the best? The stands. The PlayStation stand community that constantly is just looking and waiting for something just to keep their base floating, just to give them that red meat. And in 1 minute, if you're capping about Final Fantasy VII Remake and how excited you are to play it, it's going to be coming to Xbox, and then it doesn't, then all of a sudden, you're not interested anymore. Then again, this is why they say the things that they say about Xbox gamers and why Japanese games aren't in their wheelhouse and won't be in their wheelhouse, and why they don't like Japanese games, quote unquote, blah, blah, blah. If you had that type of stance afterwards, then you should have had that stance in the beginning. The flip-flop thing is just ridiculous to me, and it doesn't matter what side it is. You see it all the time. You have somebody will say something one day, and then the next day they say something completely different and act like they never said the other thing, right? Like, come on, man. I mean, there's got to be, I know it's social media and people get into these personas and they act crazy and they want to do certain things and act certain ways, but you got to have some kind of dignity. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Like, people don't even show their face. Like, they just get in there and they just throw a little anime character on, or some kind of, like, something with whatever, and then they just go on and start acting a fool on social media. But regardless, if you were excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake, then you should still be excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake, regardless if it's on the console of your choice. You know that I'm an Xbox guy, first console guy. I play on everything. If you've been following me, I support PlayStation, support Nintendo, support PC. I'm not the biggest mobile fan. At one point in time, I was crazy on Angry Birds, but I'm not, I'm not on the move like that, like I used to be. So I'm not really big into mobile like that. But still, I feel all things gaming should be supported in one way, shape, or form. But if you wasn't a fan, or if this was one of these games that you were quoting to get on Game Pass so you could show some games, you could show a clip and throw it at the stands just to piss them off, then that's disingenuous, man. That's not cool. That's not cool whatsoever. Because you can't always talk bad about the other side if you're going to act like the other side. Okay, that's my point on that, right? Okay. There's no doubt that, because everybody who's been paying attention to this knew that Final Fantasy VII Remake is a timed exclusive. There's two factors to this that could hold this down. One could be where Sony just gave them the bag, right? And said, look, let's just hold the game until the trilogy is over. Now, since we know that it's a trilogy, we think that, and that could be a long time before that game comes. So, and then the other factor could be that the rumors that we've heard about Square Enix, looking to get acquired by Sony, that could definitely be a possibility. But we all know once we start hearing these type of acquisitions and things like that, then they usually take time, and these things don't. And this is a pretty big company, so it's definitely going to take some time. Just look at and Activision is a much bigger company, and Microsoft has a lot more capital, but it still is taking a little while. And it is going, and for the most part, I believe that deal is going to be done before the year, if not by the end of the summer. And this is my estimation. This is my theory on that. But I feel that it's definitely going to get done this year. I think that it's going to be done by the end of this year. But for something like that, for Sony to go ahead and acquire Square Enix, that would probably take around about a year and a half, somewhere around there. And then, go through all that process. And then I don't think, because Square is a Japanese company, Sony is a Japanese company, I think that would go through a lot quicker than they have to deal with the United States or anything of that nature, to look for if there was any type of monopoly or anything like that going on. So with that being said, with this though, back to Final Fantasy, look, it is a bummer. It sucks. And Rain, you're right. Just play it on PlayStation or play it on PC. Listen, this is the thing right here, right? I totally understand and get it. Because back in the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era, a lot of us was ignorant to PlayStation's methods, right? Like, we thought those games like Tekken, Toshinden, Tobal, Xenogears, those type of games, we all thought that those were first-party titles. Hell, we didn't probably even label those games. We just said, oh, it was on PlayStation. It's not anywhere else. So obviously, I have to get a PlayStation in order to play those games. Didn't know that Sony just paid the money to keep those games off of other platforms, or if Sega wanted them or not, or same with Nintendo. But regardless, PlayStation has been using this method ever since they jumped into the game. And I think really now, since we know how PlayStation used these methods, I think a lot of people are sick of it, right? Like, I really do. It's funny because when Xbox did it to PlayStation with Rise of the Tomb Raider, they got a little dose of their own medicine and they didn't like it. The PlayStation stance did not like that. And regardless of how you felt of Rise of the Tomb Raider, or what if you felt that Xbox should have done more of that last gen, the fact of it is that the game didn't really sell that well on PlayStation, and because of that year exclusivity. So it's one of those things to me. Is like, look, if the game is not fully exclusive, then just have a marketing deal, advertise the hell out of it, and just do that. Now, look, PlayStation's taking this to a whole nother level with these timed exclusivity. Like that's why I'm saying, like, I just feel like, look, Final Fantasy 16 and the Final Fantasies, I feel that if Square is not going to get acquired, Sony's going to do something in this realm to where they have dibs to only Final Fantasy from here on out. Now, it could be just one of those things that Final Fantasy VII came out on PlayStation first, and then they were like, well, you know what? This was something that is supposed to be, is reminiscent to a lot of PlayStation gamers out there, that they had their first opportunities playing a JRPG and fell in love with it. And so we want people to just know where they got it from and just bring that nostalgia back and just have it on PlayStation, which that's totally fine. And really, in all that, in retrospect, I could see that, and then this could be the only Final Fantasy game to be exclusive, but that's not the case, because we hear about Forspoken, which is another JRPG from Square, and then of course Final Fantasy 16, which that's supposed to be a timed exclusive as well, and they're both 2 years timed exclusive. So from my perspective, that seems like to me that Sony is basically trying to give themselves time to acquire Square Enix in order for them to just say, no, we locking this shit down. Now, this is the only caveat behind this about Final Fantasy VII Remake, is that I feel that Sony would still allow Final Fantasy VII Remake to come to Xbox, because by the time that it does come to Xbox, nobody from PlayStation will give a damn. Nobody, not the stands, nobody. Because the first thing that they will say once it will come to Xbox, that they will say, well, hell, the game came out 5-6 years ago. You think anybody cares? So that will be their narrative. Trust me. And then you'll have a lot of Xbox gamers that will say, look, man, I was hyped for that game when it first came out. I'm all into shit, Fable and Perfect Dark and whatever else that Xbox is dropping, Gears 6, whatever, at this point in time. But people will still get it. So, and this will give the opportunity for people to play it on Game Pass, because that, I don't think now, if PlayStation does acquire Square Enix, I don't know if they would allow it to go into Game Pass though. So there's another part of this little thing. But do I personally feel that Final Fantasy is eventually going to come, Final Fantasy VII Remake, this trilogy will come to Xbox? I do. I still do. I'm not gonna change my tone on it because it didn't come out this year. I just feel that it's gonna take a long time. And Sony's strategy is, if you like it or not. And look, there's other games that I'm pissed off about, this timed exclusive garbage, or they just holding it off against other platforms and it's not a first-party title. And that's like this game coming up here, the fighter called DNF Duel. And then you look at Guilty Gear Strive. Like, what the hell? Like, come on, bring these games over to the box. Put these games on Nintendo. Come on. Well, if they can play on Nintendo, that's a whole nother discussion. But if they can come on the box, I mean, that's just more, and make it crossplay. Just do the same things of what you did with like what you did with Street Fighter 6, like it make it all cross-platform. As if you want to check my other video where I talked about what I feel like fighters where they need to go, check that out. Go look on the list and you'll see it. But I feel that all fighters definitely should be all where they should come out everywhere and be cross-platform if it's not a first party. Now, if for instance, because Arc System Works has a good relationship with Sony and Sony was to acquire them, then that's different. I get that. It's a first party at that point. So if they want to keep it on their platform, then just buy a PlayStation or just get a PC, one or the other. Oh, that stream, I forgot how bad that stream was. Anyway, but yeah, that's the situation for me and how I look at it. So you said somebody give K-Megan some red Kool-Aid. What you mean I'm sounding like a pastor, bro? I'm just being honest, bro. It's just like, I can't stand when I say, and look, I know I piss Xbox gamers off when I say this, and I don't care because I'm not going to be fake. I'm not going to fake the funk, man, with nobody. I'm always going to keep it real with the people that listen to me about, look, you cannot be 1 minute bitching about you want these titles to come over and you hype about them, and then the next you're like, I don't care. I don't want it no more. What? Come on. Don't do that. And then the doom and gloom Xbox gamers, oh, here we go, man. This is a fail for Xbox because they didn't get Final Fantasy Remake. But yet you forget that Persona is coming on Xbox for the very first time ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Xbox needs to do enough. They need to be more aggressive. They need to come out and do this. They need to come out and do that. While there's Wu Long coming out there to come for day one on Game Pass. There's Soul Hackers 2 that's going to be coming on Xbox, another Atlas game. And there's tons of other Japanese games that's already come to the Xbox this generation. And it's already, I mean, this is already within these first 2 years. Xbox is dominated in showing, I should say dominated. They have proven, they are willing to bring Japanese titles back to the box more than they ever did during the Xbox One generation. So how is this a situation where people are bitching? Look, Xbox can't win it all. Xbox just can't win it all, Jack. They can't. Let me put this back to where this was. Let me start this off. I was only going to talk for about 15 minutes, but you know how I get on this thing and I start getting into my bag, right? But that's the thing, though. It's like, I get it. Xbox just can't win every match. Look, more people were asking about Persona more than they were for Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I believe that the reason was for that is because of the time exclusivity, right? And Sony just came and did something else to change the game. Like, so obviously, and Sony is definitely afraid of Game Pass, and they know. And shout out to Sir X, man, because on GRG Friday night, you check out that show. He mentioned that Final Fantasy VII didn't outsell the last Tomb Raider. The last Tomb Raider. And I was like, nah, bro, come on. Because it sold like gangbusters that first month. Like it hit like records. But when I went in, I checked, it's only sold over 5 million. While Shadow of the Tomb Raider, while some people say Shadow of the Tomb Raider was not the best Tomb Raider, which it was one of my favorites actually, sold 8. So just think about if Xbox could have got a hold of Final Fantasy VII Remake and put that bad boy on Game Pass, what do you think that would look like to Sony if that game sits there and gets the acclaim and a possibility that it matches and in sales from Xbox gamers? Because if not anything, the game is beautiful. Like I own the game on PlayStation 4. The reason why I have not beat it yet is because of Barrett. Barrett annoys the hell out of me. And thank goodness there are people that told me that they calmed Barrett down later on in the game because I just couldn't take, I had to mute him, especially the part where he was on the train to say the earth and you what you gonna do, Mark? And what you gonna do about that? We gotta say the earth. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Bro, this ain't no damn 80s gangster on George Clooney's Batman. Man, make that black man sound like a normal black man. Maybe he can sound tough, but he ain't got to sound like that. Like I was totally offended by that. And then to come to find out there was a black voice actor that did it, and he was saying and I think from what I understand that he volunteered to do that voice. Shame on you. Shame on you. What'd you say, Rain? You said Mega will be doing Final Fantasy VII crossplay this year. Bro, no. I'm going to buy Final Fantasy VII on PC because they got the full collection. And so that's how I'm going to do things. So if like PlayStation wants to play that game, cool, whatever. I'll just go ahead and just buy DNF Duel. I'll get it on PC. Guilty Gear Strive, I got that on PC. Now, I did get Street Fighter 5 on, and that was, of course, I got it on PlayStation 4. I got it on PlayStation, and I got it on PC later on. But yeah, no, if PlayStation is going to make those type of moves constantly, then I'll just go ahead and get them on PC. It's not no big deal. That's why I don't understand why people got it out of pocket when I said Xbox PC is the best for me. Like, I mean, If PlayStation and PC is the best for you, cool. If Nintendo and PC is the best for you, cool. But I would advise every gamer out there, if you want to get a little bit of everything, I would say whatever that's your primary console, get a PC or get a laptop or something that can, you don't have to be the most glamorous laptop to try to brag about. But you can get a laptop that can run games, and you can have the best of both worlds because more and more PlayStation games are going on the PC, and it's just no different than what the PlayStation community was saying about, well, I could just give me a PC and get these Xbox games. Xbox don't give a damn. And now we see that PlayStation seeing that the money that Xbox was making, like, oh, we don't give a damn either. We just want you to buy our games. And that's it. So for me, I want to have the best performance. And since I don't have a PlayStation 5 yet, my PC is going to give me way more performance than a PlayStation Pro. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just it. So I just think for me, Xbox and PC is just it for me. And that's just what I'm going to do. So for when they do these type of deals, I'm going to wait until I'll get those games on PC. And if they drop them at $70, I can wait, because on PC, those games jump on sale really, 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 really quick. So then on PlayStation, you probably have to wait anywhere from 3 to 6 months for some of those games to drop, especially if those games were, whatever those games that they drop for $70 are popular. But on PC, they'll drop like a rock. There's only a few games that will not drop in price for a while. And I don't know how that works on PC, but that's just how it is. But it is what it is. But I mean, on what'd you say, Rain? You said if my ex can be on all platforms, so can Final Fantasy. Right. I just don't. The more and more that you hear about, especially after reading that Apple versus Epic case, how I don't know, how just foul that what Sony does with these timed exclusivity things, it just makes no sense. It's just nasty. I don't like it. I just don't like it. And I'm glad that Xbox, I'm glad Phil and them just said, look, we're not doing that. We're just going to acquire. We're going to cut out the middleman, and we're just going to acquire. So back to Final Fantasy. I think that, because, I was about to go left and go into a whole nother tangent, but I do feel like I do feel bad for Xbox gamers who was anticipating this game and only has an Xbox, because it's a really good game. If you could get past Barrett's voice, then the game is good. The game is damn good. So when I've heard from from others out there that told me that Barrett they toned him down, and I don't know if that means he don't talk as much, or if he's just saying a couple of one-liners here, one-liners there, then I could do it. But him going off like he was, especially on that train, boy, I was like, man, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. You know what I'm saying? A big black man on a train full of Japanese people scaring the hell out of him, screaming about the earth. I got you. Okay, this is whatever. I was kidding. And then, of course, I was still confused because I bought it day one when it first came out. And so I was, I didn't know what to expect from the remake. I knew that it was probably have some things that was different, especially because they were going to they was going to make it episodic in a way. And you were mostly in Midgar, I think that's what it's called. The city's called. That they were going to have to put a lot of extra content. And then when the whole thing with Sephiroth and what they did with that and all, I'm like, why are they showing this dude this early? And why are they not showing this with Janora and all this stuff? And they might show that later on, of course, because like I said, I got past the train scene where he was in the that Cloud, Tifa, was in the hotel. Then there was another scene right after that. And then you've seen old girl, and I can't think of her name, the one little sweet chick, she's the healer. That part, and I'm kind of confused where those parts were, but after that's where I stopped it, because Barrett was getting on my damn nerves. But but let me go ahead and read this. He said, K-Meg, I felt that the Xbox showcase brought great games. The whole Final Fantasy thing is not the big deal, with huge RPGs coming, Starfield, Avowed, Fable, Outer Worlds, Elder Scrolls 6. No, that's the whole thing. What's going on, Megatron? Phantasy Star Online was huge. That's what I'm saying. Is that Xbox has proven that they are listening to the gamers, but they're not going to win every battle. They're just not. PlayStation is a formidable foe. Nintendo is formidable, regardless of what people think about. Think about this for a second about Nintendo. Nintendo is the leading selling console right now. PlayStation is third. Xbox has done a hell of a job a hell of a job to show and prove what they did. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that, to just get to second, because they were last place the majority of last gen. They're beating PlayStation. And the only reason, and Nintendo itself is a console that can only max out at 1080p, and most of their games aren't 1080p. And think about that for a second. Like, see, this is the thing about why I wish Xbox gamers would stop listening to the stand so much, especially the way that they talk bad about Starfield, right? Like, listen, Starfield's going to be amazing. I told everybody to wait, because until we've seen something, don't cap for it unless you see what it is. And what I've seen, I'm all in. I'm going to get lost in that game. I might cancel some GRGs because might be so involved in that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, man, ain't no GRG this week. I'm too busy. You know what I'm saying? Just jumping around the galaxy. But regardless of that, PlayStation gamers are, and PlayStation do make some highly visible, beautiful looking games, right? That is what they do, right? But this is the thing right here, and look, I don't care if anybody quotes me. I'll let people take the snippet and put it somewhere, and if I'm wrong and I take the L on it, fine. I'll take the fail. I'll take the L. But I believe when Starfield drops, it's going to rake. It's going to rake. Any pretty game that PlayStation puts out other than Spider-Man, I don't think it's going to really touch. And even God of War is going to be a great game. But even when Starfield drops and that shit hits PC, man, the PC community going to get that game, because the mods that they can make on that game is going to be insane. Spider-Man is the only game that I can see that's really going to hit hard, that will probably outsell and you know what I'm saying, to get people more excited for a game than Starfield. Starfield is going to be that game to where mods on PC and for even the Xbox community, that is going to be a crazy game. And if you don't believe me, case and point, all you got to do is look at just a couple of months ago when Horizon Forbidden West just dropped. Probably one of the most beautiful games you ever want to see. Visually, bigger game, has a better story, and then a game called Elden Ring that doesn't visually look nowhere near as good, kills it, gets to a point to where it's very few people talking about Forbidden West, and everyone, and I mean everyone, talk about Elden Ring. And even crazy enough that Elden Ring even gets people to join that genre that hated the genre. I'm one of them. I think so. I think Bloodborne is really good. I think Sekiro is really good. I need to get Sekiro again because I game shared it with my homeboy that passed away a couple of years ago. And so once his Xbox Live account went away, it left. And I said I wanted to get that. I haven't yet, but but I like Bloodborne. But I haven't completed it. Elden Ring, I couldn't stop. Hell, it was so bad I had to uninstall it. And if it wasn't for Everborn that wanted to ask for a certain mask that I picked up to help him on his quest to beat the game, I wouldn't have rebooted up, because when I did boot it up, I started playing. I played for another 3 hours. I said, oh no, I got to help this boy and give this thing back, because I enjoyed that game that much. Starfield is going to be that same type of game. It's going to introduce people who aren't really into that type of game, and that's going to bring people to that. People already know what God of War is. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, Spider-Man is going to be a different animal, because a lot of people's going to play Spider-Man on PC, and then they're going to see how good that game is, and they're going to like, damn. And they're going to but that's the only PlayStation game I really think that personally will really stand a chance against Starfield, regardless of how Starfield is not visually pretty as what PlayStation produces on some of their titles. Starfield's still going to rate. There's just no doubt about that. It's just one of those games that's just going to bring something to the table that I think that has been needed for a long time. That probably will give, now seeing this, the story is anywhere compelling to, let's say, to even though I know Outer Worlds is more of it has more funny aspects to it, but if their story is anywhere close to what Outer Worlds were, and hell, if it's going anywhere near, if it gets deep and dark like The Witcher or like Cyberpunk 2077, anywhere like that, then the game's going to be in a crazy success, in my opinion. But yeah, visuals. That just goes back to my whole point about talking about Nintendo. Like, the visuals don't matter. People are going to play Pokemon and play Zelda at 720p, and that game is going to be the best-selling game of that month. Period. Nothing's going to touch it. Nothing. So stop listening to the stands when they always talk about visuals and shit like that. Now, when it comes to fighters and car racing games, stuff like that, yeah, visuals definitely matter, but it's not the be all to every game out there. There's sometimes that there's some really fantastic games that doesn't always have to look absolutely spectacular. But Final Fantasy VII is one of those games that gives you both. It gives you a good story, but it visually looks absolutely outstanding. And I know that people want to jump on it, but first, sink your teeth into Persona. You got 3 Personas to play. You got Soul Hackers. You got, like Megatron said, you got Phantasy Star Online. That, I mean, you know, a lot of people over here wanting to get a chance to play the Final Fantasy Online game, don't sleep on Phantasy Star Online, because that game is really damn good as well. So I don't know. I just wanted to just make my points on that. I knew that I was like, I'm going to do for 15 minutes or so. But you know me, when I start getting on these rants, I get on a rant, and that's why it's just my thoughts. But Xbox gamers, don't keep saying, you know, listen, it's if this comes out to be overall an L to where Xbox doesn't get the game, just chalk it up to the game. Just chalk it up and get you a PlayStation. That's it. Or get your PC build or a laptop, and then get Final Fantasy and Forspoken and whatever else that you want on PC. It's not that big of a deal. It's you know what I'm saying? If I don't like the PlayStation strategy either. I think it sucks to lock games away that's not a first party. You know, marketing deals is absolutely fine. Getting the, you know, some people don't like the you know, withholding certain aspects or features from certain games or things like that. I don't trip about that too much either, because sometimes for 9 times out of 10, those modes are not the most popular modes. But if that's a part of their marketing deal, cool. But I do not like the fact that if it's timed exclusive and you keep it away for years, you just keep paying that extra little fee for years and years and years just to keep it off the other platform. I know it's business, but that don't mean I have to like it. And I just don't. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Instead of me getting on PlayStation, I'll just go ahead and get on PC, because I'm still supporting the game. I'm supporting the publisher, but you know, it's not a first party, so I'm just gonna have another angle to just get it that way. And if you know, that's just my thoughts about it. I know that there'll be some people that won't like me saying that or whatever. And you're a PlayStation hater. Oh my God, you hate PlayStation so much. Okay, yeah, okay, whatever, sure. But it's just say what you want. But that's just my thoughts on it, my 2 cents. But if Final Fantasy does come, which I do feel that it will, personally, I feel that it's going to be a very, very long time, because it just doesn't make sense that you're going to bring a prequel over, and then Xbox gets all of these Final Fantasy games, and you don't bring this particular game when you're going to bring the Xbox gamers the prequel. That's the one reason that made me think, like, okay, I still think that Final Fantasy is going to come. It's just going to be a very long time, to the point to where nobody cares. And I think that's part of Sony's strategy, is like, shit, by the time we get that out there, we'll just get, I mean, Square, you'll get your extra money. You know, they might put it on Game Pass, they might not, regardless, but you know, you just keep it here for the time being. And let's not hope that that we get that same type of treatment for Kingdom Hearts 4, because Xbox got all the Kingdom Hearts, and then if they try to do the time exclusive of Kingdom Hearts, I mean, Square Enix is over here like, man, we about that bag, man. We got a really good relationship with PlayStation. Don't think that they won't do the same thing. So It's just one thing to do. So personally, that's when overall, I kind of hope that Sony just go ahead and get Square Enix, just because, it's a first party. I ain't got a bitch about it. I just know that I got to get it. I just got to give me a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 Pro or just get them on PC, one or the other. But what I'm saying, I do not agree that people should boycott any game just because it's not on your preferred console. That to me that's next level weird. Don't do that. Don't be that guy or girl. Don't be that person. So, but since this is a trilogy, I just think that this is going to take a while, and I think Sony's got this locked down until this trilogy is over. And then if they do get like I said, for the fourth time, if Sony does get them, does acquire Square Enix, then I think Sony would go ahead and be like, yeah, let's go ahead and make a little bit of extra money. Let's just throw Final Fantasy 7. But Final Fantasy 16, all the Forspoken 2, all that shit's locked, Jack. You ain't ever seeing those games again. and the other Final Fantasies, they are locked in forever. Those are PlayStation exclusives. If those rumors are true about Sony acquiring Square Enix, yeah, don't have to worry about that. Don't have to worry about no none of that, Jack. Sony ain't. You don't gotta ask what Sony's gonna do. Everybody keeps asking if Xbox is gonna keep playing nice and all this and all that. With Sony, you ain't gotta worry about that. That shit's gonna stay exclusively on PlayStation and PC. So but that's my thoughts, guys. 36 minutes. Hot damn. That's 15 to 36. Oh my goodness. But I appreciate you guys coming to check us out. Remember, if you have not subscribed to the channel, man, please do so. It would be greatly appreciated. I will drop another video coming up here. I want to talk about Madden. I want to talk about Madden and college football, because I do feel that there's some interesting things in the winds, some things that I've been hearing, and also some things that I'm going to be speculating too. So I hope you will check out that video later on this week. Where I'll be talking about that. And man, thank you. Tonight I'll be doing Fight Night. So I'll be doing Fight Night since I didn't have Fight Night Sunday last night. I did play Samurai Showdown with the Don, and we had a really good time, just playing around. Because Don doesn't really get into the fighters like that, but he really does like Samurai Showdown. And so we had some really fun, good matches. You can check it. I didn't stream it, but Don streamed it. So if you want to check out the Don KTR, _ KTR, on Twitch, go ahead and check him out there. See me and him going at it for a couple of hours. But yeah, tonight, I don't know. I'm definitely going to play DBZ Fighters. I don't know what else I'll be playing. I probably might try to play some Sam Show again, because I forget how fun that game is. So if anybody wants to join me, come and do that. K-Mega405, it's my gamer tag. If it doesn't come to that, I'll be playing DBZ as well. And then, whatever the third game might be, it is what it is. So I hope you guys will check me out on Twitch, and I will try to stream it as well on YouTube, come and check it out tonight. Everybody have a good one. Until the next video, man. I am out. Woo, peace. Let me hit these buttons. Man.